Baco, and you're watching Bad Witch Books. Today we're going to be going over my June TBR. It is already June. We are halfway through the year. That is fudging crazy. How is it June already? The spring months went by hella fast. I am still gooped, gagged, and put together. But we are already at June. So if you are new to my channel, or this is your first time watching a June TBR, you do know for June, I try to focus mostly on queer books. I do read queer books all throughout the year, but I specifically try to do June extra hard with the gay. So, let's get to it, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is pull my name for my 12 witchy picks. So, we'll cut to pull my name for the next witchy book read. Let's see what we get. We did Uprooted last month, and it just fell, so... It fell out, so it was meant to be. We're on my tarot rule cards rulings, and it is... Ooh, Black Candle Women. Okay. You should have seen a clip of me pull a name for 12 Witchy Picks challenge, and the book that got pulled was Black Candle Woman by Dane Marie Brown. First, the stunning cover. So, let's get into what it's about. Generations of Montrose women, Augusta, Victoria, Willow, have lived together in their quaint two-story bungalow in California for years. They keep to themselves, never venturing far from home, and their collection of tinctures and spells and an unspoken bond between them. But when the 17-year-old Nikki Montrose brings home a boy for the first time, the quiet lies are thrown into disarray, for the other women have been withholding a secret from Nikki that will end her relationship before it even began. The decades-old family curse that any person they fall in love with dies. Their surprise guest forces each woman to reckon with her own past choices and mistakes. As new truths about the curse emerges, the family is set a collision course, darting back to the voodoo shop in 1950s New Orleans in the French Quarter, where a hidden story in a mysterious book may hold the answer they may seek for life and love. So I'm very excited to get into this. I'm very excited because this is a kind of different from the other witchy books we've read so far. They've been very high fantasy, all of the ones we read. This one seems to be more on the magical realism side, just from I'm guessing from the vibe that of the synopsis. So I am very excited to get to this. As for per usual, all my other witchy picks, you guys will get a dedicated reading vlog for this before the month is over in June. Next book we have is a book I am buddy reading with Helen and Jen from Genderqueer on YouTube. Helen doesn't have a channel, but if you watch me or if you watch Princess or if you watch Jen, you know who Helen is. And we are buddy reading Honey Witch by Sydney J. Shellen. Unlike those two lucky people, I don't have Fairy Loot adult subscription, so I have to get the paperback. But a tale that deserves to be savored but begs to be devoured, Brienne Randall says. The Marigold Claude has always preferred the company of the meadow spirits to the suitors who tried to woo her. So when her grandmother whisks her away to the tiny isle of Infestfree with the offering to train her as the next honey witch, she accepts immediately. But her newfound magic and independence comes with a price. No one can fall in love with a honey witch. There, Louis Birdie, a mysteriously old, grumpy skeptic, shows up on her doorstep, and Marigold can resist the challenge to prove her that magic is real, even at the risk of losing her home and her heart. Very excited to read it. This is a good sapphic vibe. I've heard it compared to Howl's Moving Castle vibes, so I'm very excited to get into this. Next book we have here is we are continuing a theme of queer witches, I guess, because I am knocking out the last book in the Bone Spindle trilogy, The Cursed Rose. If you do not know, The Bone Spindle is a gender-bent Sleeping Beauty retelling with Indiana Jones vibes, and this is the third book in the series and the finale of the trilogy, and I'm very excited to get into this, especially with the way the last book ended. The next book I have here is from my 20 for 24, and that is The Sun in the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz. This is also a book, my goal is to read at least one Latina book per month, at least one per month, and I've been doing great so far, so this will also fit for June's. But Reina is desperate. Stuck on the edges of society, Reina's only hope lies in an invitation from a grandmother she never met, but the journey to her is dangerous, and a prayer can't always avert disaster. Attacked by creatures that stalk the mountains, Reina is on the verge of death until her grandmother, a dark sorceress, intervenes. Now dependent on her Donna's magic for her life, Reina will do anything to earn and keep her favor, even bidding of an ancient god who whispers to her at night. Eva Kestrel is unwanted. Illegitimate and of mixed heritage, Eva is her family's shame. She tries to be the perfect daughter, but Eva is hiding a secret. Magic calls to her. Eva knows that she should fight the temptation. Magic is a sign of the dark god, and using it is punishable by death. Yet it is hard to ignore the power when it has always been denied you. Eva is walking a dangerous path, and in the end, she will become something she never imagined. So, really big, strong sapphic vibes this month, which we're not angry with. We love sapphic energy. Next book is my book club pick, and that is A Drop of Venom by Santi Pantel. So I will read the description, but what I know about this is a Indian-inspired Medusa retelling, so trigger warnings. I know that SA plays a heavy role into that. I do not know how depicted that is going to be into the book, if it's like off-screen or on-page or off-page, so I would look into that if you're going to join us. So this is the book club for my Enchanted Forest book club. We will have the talk in the Discord, but I also have set up a Fable. I'm going to try to use Fables more often, and I will try to link that down below for the Fable for this. But this is a long description. So, 16 years ago, Machina is 16 years old. Manchina is no stranger to monsters. She has been running from them for years. From beasts who roam the jungle to the king's army, who forced her people, the Naga, to scatter to the ends of the earth. You might think that the kingdom's famed holy temple atop the floating mountains where Machina is now a priestess would be safe, but you would be wrong. 17-year-old Parthius is a former slayer of monsters, one of the king's most prized warriors, and a frequent visitor of the floating temples. For every monster the slayer kills, years are added to his life. You might think such a powerful warrior could do whatever he wants, but true power lies with the king. Tired after years of fighting, Prashina wants nothing more than a peaceful, respectable life. When Prashina and Machina meet, each see each other as possibilities to chart a new path. Unfortunately, the kingdom's powerful have other plans. A temple visitor sexually assaults Machina and pushes her off in the mountain to a pit of viper. Months later, the king sends I'm butchering these names. Off to kill one last monster, a powerful Nagin who has been turning men into stone before he'll consider granting the slayer his freedom. Except Machina didn't die, despite the hundreds of snake bites covering her body and the venom running through her veins. She rises from the pit more powerful than ever before, with heightened senses, armor-like skin, and blood that can turn people to stone. And he doesn't know it, but the monster he's been sent to kill is none other than the girl he wants to marry. I am very excited to get into this. That is a very long description. This cover is gorgeous. And it also has him on the back. So, love Medusa. Like I said, heavy warnings on SA if that is a trigger for you. Just know that going in beforehand. But I'm very excited to get into this. Just look at that. Look at your stone. Your stone. Okay, next is a Princesses book club for June, which Princesses book club is on Discord, but also mainly going to be on Fable now. And that is Jasad Air by Sarah Hushman. I'm probably going to butcher names. 10 years ago, the kingdom of Jasad burned. Its magic was outlawed, the royal family murdered. Alas, that's what the Sylvain wants people to believe. The heir of Jasad escaped the massacre, and she intends to stay hidden, especially from the armies of Nazali that continues to hunt her people. But a moment of anger changes everything when Aaron, the Nazali heir, tracks a group of Jasad rebels to her village. Celia accidentally reveals her magic and now captured his attention. Now Celia forces to make a deal with her greatest enemy, help him hunt the rebels in exchange for her life. A deadly game begins. Celia can't let Aaron discover her identity, even as hatred shifts into something more between the heirs. As the tides change around her, Celia will have to choose between the life she wants and the one she abandoned. Very excited to get into this. This has been on my radar forever, and I've been holding off for Princesses Book Club, so I'm very excited to get into this. Sorry, books are wanting to fall. Next is another book club I'm going to. This is not my in-person book club, but this is the one that is kind of newish that I'm going to try to check out. And they are reading The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. In a shabby house on a shabby street in the new capital of Madrid, La Luisa Cado uses scraps of magic to get through her days, but an endless toil is a scoliotion. But when her scheming mistress discovers the lump of a servant cowering in the kitchen is actually hiding a talent for little miracles, she demands Luisa use these gifts to better her family's social position. And I know much more happens. I'm excited to read it. The book club is supposed to be a romantasy book club, and I didn't think this book is romantasy, so we'll see. But I am intrigued to go into it. I do enjoy Leigh Bardugo's writing. So next book I have planned is Blood Justice. This is by Terry J. Benson Walker. This is the sequel to Blood Debts. Blood Debts is about two siblings who are heirs to this powerful family of magic users in New Orleans who are trying to get back on top. Their family was on top until like a couple generations before something tragic happens, and their family no longer has the position of power it once had, and they are trying to get back at the people who hurt their family. This is the sequel. I don't want to get into spoilers. The other two books I plan on reading I do not have, and that one is Kill Her Twice by Stacey Lee. This is, I believe, a murder mystery about a celebrity death and her sister. I don't know too much about it, but this is for my IRL book club. And the second is Bad Gaze. This is another book on my 24 for 24. This is a nonfiction, so I'm trying to read at least one nonfiction a year, and this is going to be the nonfiction. And I believe that this is a book format of their, like, inspired by their podcast, where they talk about gays, like homosexuals throughout history that may have been bad guys, like were the villains of history. So I'm very excited to see how this goes. But that is what I'm reading in June. I also would love to maybe get to Saint Seducing Gold. I had a really bad May. Like a really bad reading month in May, so I'm hoping that June just kicks ass, because if it does, Saint Seducing Gold, and I would also love to maybe get into Invocation by S.C. Gibson, but we will see. Let's see what I actually read in June. What do you guys have planned to read? What are you most excited for? I am really excited for The Honey Witch. I'm excited for Facade Air and Sun in the Void. I think are my top threes. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!